2023. Once you do that, you will get 3028 hits. These are the web server logs, namely the Apache web server. On the left side, we have the fields that have been parsed by the Elastic Stack. Now, what are we going to do? We want to build the chain of events starting from the very first attacker attempts represented by the column. So we want to add the URL. We want to see the requested URL. We also want to take a look at the response status. The user agent. Why the user agent? Because the user agent will allow us to check what is the attacker's fingerprint, meaning what software they use to perform the action, whether it is scanning, directory enumeration, or even credential brute force. All will be in the user agent. So we're gonna add this here. So now we have these. We can also need the IP address. This is the source IP address with respect to the web server, meaning the web server IP address. We don't need it. We want the IP address of the attacker. So we're looking for a remote IP address, transaction remote underscore address. So we added all this. Now we want to adjust this to a comfortable display. So we're gonna click on um, display options, and we select single to have a compact view of the columns. Okay. Now this looks nice. We have the timestamp, the URL requested, The Splunk is the same way. When you click on a field, you get statistical information about the top requesting values. So we have here the IP address 10.02.15. It occupies, or it takes 84% share of the traffic, which means this is probably the IP address of the attacker encrypting engine, which means the attacker has actually used Nmap to do some Nmap scans. If you scroll all the way down, you can also check out these. You can also find other user agents such as the GoBuster, which is a popular tool to perform directory enumeration and brute force. So we have more than one user agent that indicate the attacker's attempts throughout the cyber kill chain. So we have Nmap for the scanning and reconnaissance, the attacker's IP address. We already answered. This What was the first scanner that the attacker ran against the web server? So see here in the question, there is a hint. So we're gonna use the response status. So response status and use 404. We update. And we will get the list of all. This will give me a list of all of the log entries that represent the pages that have been actually crawled and found by the attacker. We want to find the flag. So probably here we want to add another query to the KQL here. The query here will be about the user agent. Since we know that the attacker actually used directory enumeration to find enumerated directories, we're going to assume that the flag was found this way. So we're going to use and here request let's look for the user agent, request headers, user agent. We're gonna select GoBuster and update. So now here we're looking to find looking for the response status 200 or the discovered pages. We're going to add another AND statement. HTTP URL. We want to find clues about the login page the attacker found. So it is a login page. So probably it contains the word login. We're going to use wildcards to match against all the pages that contain the login word. So what we can do, we can use slash wildcard login wildcard. So here we're looking to match all the pages that contain the word login, and we don't care what comes after the word login and what comes before the word login. Update. You see in total we have 6 hits. We're looking for a page, not a directory. So we have 2 pages. We have login PHP and admin-login PHP. Both returned, or one returned 404, not found, and one returned 401. So probably, not probably actually, definitely the login page or the correct one is admin-login, judging by the response status. What was the user agent of the brute force tool? that the attacker used on the admin panel. So now we know the admin panel, admin-login. And let's assume now we don't know the user agent. We know it is Hydra. Earlier we found this, but let's now answer the question differently. We want to find the tool the attacker used to brute force or to perform the credential brute force. So we're going to use the login page as the criteria here. So we're gonna remove all this. The URL will be admin-login.php. Let's see all the hits on this page. Seeing all the hits on this page will allow us to figure out all the user agents used. So we have regular user agent and we have Hydra. So when we see Hydra, we automatically assume that yes, that was a credential brute force attack. So it is Hydra. What username, password combination did the attack? Attacker used to gain access to the admin page. Okay, so we'll be looking to find out the credentials. Let's go back. Here, okay, so admin-login. So what we're going to do here, we can sift through all of these and extract the credentials by looking into them one by one. Status 200. And we have only 2 hits. we can take a look at the one that highlights Hydra as the user agent. Scrolling down, and we have only 2 hits. We can take a look at the one that highlights Hydra as the user agent. Scrolling down, we see request headers authorization. This is the classic authorization that asks for username and password. If we take this and go to Cyber Chef, and we have the username and password. What flag was included in the file the attacker uploaded from the admin directory? So after the attacker managed to log into the administration panel, what they want to do now, they want to upload a reverse shell. So here we want to discover first the upload directory in the web server. So to do that, we're gonna go back, and here we're gonna cancel this. We're assuming that the upload directory is under admin directory. So we're gonna use a wildcard here and wildcard here. You're gonna get a lot of hits. Okay. All right. So how to find the correct upload directory? To find the correct upload directory, we're gonna have to go back a little bit. request header user agent. We're going to select the Linux user agent because it represents the web browser the attacker used. Update and see how many hits. So we have 164 hits, and now we get some clues. Look at this, /admin/upload.php, and it is 200. So this is the upload directory, right? Now we want to find what the attacker uploaded to the web server. So we're gonna modify the URL filter here. The URL filter is gonna be now modified and will include /admin/upload. PHP. Let's see now. So we have one request. Let's take a look at this. Okay. Looks like we're gonna have to modify this again. So we're gonna use wildcard after the PHP. Why? Because if the attacker uploaded a file to the web server, there will be request parameters, right? The request parameters come after the file name that handles the upload process. So that's why I use a wildcard here and update. Now we have two. So the other one here, let's take a look at this. Probably it highlights an upload process with a file. Scrolling down, we have a request body now. Clicking on the arrow here will expand the request body, and we see that, let's see here. We see that the attacker uploaded a file named Easy Simple Web Shell. That's the web shell the attacker uploaded after they discovered the credentials. Scrolling down, we can see also the flag requested in the question. So in the question, they ask you for the flag, but in fact, they want you and copy after they gained access. So now we can copy the name of the web shell and use it in the filter. I'm going to return all the logs that contain the web shell. So we see in total we have 6 hits. Probably these 6 hits, apart from the first one, which was the upload process, they represent, let's take a look at the first one. Okay, the first one is, let's expand the message. Section. So this is the web shell. This is the upload. This is the upload. Let's take a look at the other one. And now we can see the request parameter CMD as I'm highlighting. And the first command was who am I? If you are curious, you can also take a look at the other entries to find the other commands. So the next command was pwd, print working directory. And then they used ls to extract the contents of the working directory. And the other one, URL field. So what are we going to put here? We know that the configuration file for the database will contain the word DB because that's how it is. So we're going to use the word DB between 2 wildcards. Okay, we have around 26 hits. If you want to narrow this further, you can use and request dot status. You can use 200. Oh, okay, fine. Scrolling back, let's go. Use only this. 26 hits. We have actually 200. Request status 200. I don't know why it didn't work. Let's attempt one more time. Response status. It's not request. Okay, we have 14 hits. So the very first, let's take a look at the very first one. So it is a request to this path, admin settings page. We have here traversal to etc phpMyAdmin config. This is the actual configuration file that stores the credentials. As you can see, the attacker used directory traversal beside local file inclusion to access the file. What directory did the attacker use to access the database manager? We already answered this. It's phpMyAdmin. What was the name of the database that the attacker exported? You see, the author has highlighted exported. In every question, they are highlighting a word or two to give you a hint on how to find the answer. So you have exported highlighted. How would an attacker export a database in phpMyAdmin? They will do that. Of course, they will want to navigate to the corresponding page in phpMyAdmin, and that page's name happens to be export.php. We can assume that you don't know this, okay? Although you should know it as a SOC analyst, you should be familiar with phpMyAdmin and other database software. But I'm trying to simplify things as much as I can. So in the request URL, I'm going to modify this and include export. Between two wildcards, don't forget this. So we have couple ones. We have export PHP, which is 404. We're going to look at the ones that return an actual page. We have phpMyAdmin / export. So the base from you want the first one. You record export score. So now they are in. We're gonna find this. What what is the page that the attacker has to navigate to in order to insert something into the database. Well, not all the time it can be clear, but to find the answer, we're gonna exclude export from the search, and we're gonna just reset the search for now to only PHP my. Gonna have first remove the wildcard PHP my admin and then wildcard. Let's first take a look at the all sorts of pages that the attacker navigated to figure out which one could be the one that actually contains the insert statement. And let's also filter for and only the returned or the actual pages that were found. Response status 200. Okay, 144. Let's see here. So up until now we have regular requests to the themes page. We're not interested in this one. Okay, switch to the second page. We have export. We now know that export is used to export a database. Navigation, export. We have a change. Look, TBL underscore change could be used to modify a database and insert records. Also have TBL underscore replace. So let's use a filter here, /TBL. okay, to find all the TBL requests. We now have 6 sets. So structure, export, change, replace, structure, export. If you look into the replace, we see here request body. It is a URL encoded replace. We see here request body. It is a URL encoded value. We can use URL decode. URL decode. Okay, let's see here. So it's a request to Ajax DB. The database is customer credit cards, and go to TBL underscore SQL. That's the file that was requested. So what happened? Let's see here. Database was specified as customer underscore credit underscore cards, and the table is specified here. And this is the SQL query, but we don't see type equal insert. After insert, we see an insert operation, but we cannot find out what was inserted. Let's go back here. So we have replace and we have change. Let's take a look at change. So in change, we don't have a request body. Okay, we want, looks like we're gonna have to look more. So structure export, okay. So it looks like the page used to insert the request or the statement doesn't contain TBL. So we're gonna go back to our regular search, the previous search. We were at the second page. Okay. So we see here import. Import page is used to import a database to the PHP admin. Let's take a look at this one. And there is a request body. Let's see here. Have a look at this value, and we're gonna decode it into decode. Let's paste one more time and decode. So database was specified, table was specified here, the token, the page or the file, and we have a message. Your SQL query has been executed successfully. And we have the previous SQL and there is a request body. PHP admin. Let's take a look at this import page. Okay, page. Okay. So we see here import. Import page is used to import a database to the PHP admin. Let's take a look at this one. And there is a request body. Let's see here. Have a look at this value, and we're gonna decode it into decode. Let's paste one more time and decode. So database was specified, table was specified here, the token, the page or the file, and we have a message. Your SQL query has been executed successfully. And we have a previous SQL query. Okay, it was insert into credit cards. That's the table to which the value was inserted.